right, so in today's episode of the podcast, I am joined by Agz. He's a pretty prominent Roblox anime game YouTuber and streamer, and he's most known for his GPO content, but recently he's made a switch away from that. So, yeah, how you doing, Agz?
Hi, it's RevolverAgz over here. I'm doing all right.
Wonderful, that's great. But today I've got a few questions to keep the flow going in the podcast, and the first question is, what is your favorite game on Roblox right now? Because I know you kind of like Deepwoken, but I'm not sure if you still like it. You've been hyping up Emblem Tales, but what is your favorite game that is out right now on Roblox?
Favorite game on Roblox out right now. I'm not gonna lie to you. If you asked me this maybe a month ago, I would have said Deepwoken. But now everything is just kind of just there because Deepwoken seems to not know how to update the game, and yeah, it's hard. But we'll run with Deepwoken. We'll just run with Deepwoken. I actually play it on my spare time, so we can say Deepwoken.
So Deepwoken is your current favorite game, which is I wasn't completely surprised by that. I mean, you're making a lot of GPO, Deepwoken content, not GPO. Haven't made a GPO video in a while, but I mean, you made that mochi thing recently, right? Like the review.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was kind of like a must-have. Like even the content creators who leave GPO, whenever there's like a major update, they always come back to
I'll come back.
you gotta come back.
Can't leave it forever.
True. It's like a safety blanket, or like a what's a better one? It's like a rope that like ties you to the game, and if you like, as long as you have that rope, you're gonna be okay. But
it pulls you back in.
So what about Deepwoken? I mean, this is more of a broad question, but like, what are you looking for in a Roblox game? 'Cause I've known you for like a year now. I mean, obviously not personally in person, but I've known you through Discord for about a year now, and you have pretty big like aspirations for what a game should be. And so, what are you looking for in a game currently? Like, are you looking for a Deepwoken? Are you looking for another GPO, another Blocks Fruits? Like, what's currently your goal game? Like, what's your dream Roblox game currently?
Definitely not Blocks Roots, but you know what? It's so hard to pinpoint, right? Because when Deepwoken first came out, it was getting everything right. Like just being able to the immersiveness, to being able to explore the base combat was genuinely enjoyable, skill based, and it was like boots on the ground. Same with GPO. When it first came out, it did everything right. The immersiveness was there. It had a fair amount of content, and it was mainly boots on the ground. Like it wasn't any like spam Gepo and then shooting people with all sorts of abilities. It wasn't all over the place like it is now. So, I mean, dream game would be to have a good mix of content, immersiveness. Like the community plays a huge part. If the community is able to actually play the game together, in a sense, it would be nice. And combat. Combat is so important. Combat shouldn't get to the point after the first update or two, things to start getting out of hand. It should still be somewhat grounded in a nice way. Like Deepwoken still has that, but sometimes there are things or players that have some crazy abilities that you've never seen, and it's just over the top. It gets a bit crazy. It gets a bit wacky.
So you're looking for a more like I use this word lightly, but like simplistic, kind of grounded combat system where I mean it doesn't, because like I can completely see what you mean when you say it gets out of hand. I mean, think about GPO for example. Back in the day, like the meta builds like maybe like Kirabachi and a fruit. Nowadays you can do like OP one shot combos, and I'm not saying it's like a terrible change, but I can definitely see the shift that it's made. And I mean, I can't say I know a lot about Deepwoken, but I imagine like you said, I imagine it's getting pretty crazy now with like more updates. But I don't really know how devs can navigate that because you have to add new content, you have to add new combat mechanics, but how do you make them balanced? It seems like a very difficult game they're trying to play. How do you think they can make it balanced and not make it to get too out of hand?
100%. That's where it does get difficult. That's a really good question because as a consumer, I don't have the answers to that. But I will say if they focused more on the actual adding content to the game, enjoyable content, and just let the game progress, I feel like things wouldn't get out of hand. Because, all right, so with Deepwoken, I'm not gonna, even as a Wave 1 tester, I thought, or what was said was the game wouldn't take crazy long to have updates. They had like a roadmap. So after, like they said, they had the next content expansion basically done by the time the game releases. So they just need to polish it, whatever. So I was thinking, all right, we get Deepwoken a month, maybe a month and a half. We'll get the next big update. It's been 3, 4 months and we haven't got anything. It's just GPO all over again. And what they have added is these small little patch balance updates where they like slowly add more quote unquote content to the game or things. So they'll add like extra abilities and stuff like that. And all these little patches where they've added abilities to the game have made it kind of crazy. Like it's just really wacky right now. And some of the little updates have kind of ruined the way the game is played. The experience is not the same as it was.
Okay, so I just realized I had some audio issues with my recording software, but that's all sorted now. So let's get back to the actual episode. And on to the next question. I know Ag said something pretty important before, but that's, I guess you guys are going to be the only ones who know that, 'cause I forgot it, Ag's forgot it. So let's move on to the next question. What game are you most looking forward to and why? I'm guessing it's Emblem Tales, just a
I'm not
guess.
gonna lie, there's a couple of games I'm really, really looking forward to. And I don't know, it's kind of not in the same realm of the question because it says what game, but I'm gonna say what games.
Oh, games is better because games is more like, I guess people can relate to games more because it's more like options. Like if you play a
Yeah.
One Piece game, you might not know about Emblem Tales, but if you play like you probably know about like Eternal Seas or whatever is like coming up in One Piece.
Haha. Now I have a couple of games, and I'm just gonna say the games and the reason why. So, Emblem Tales obviously is one. Um, don't can't really say any specific reason other than I'm genuinely looking forward to it. If it ends up disappointing, then I mean, I guess it is what it is. Normal Roblox situation, but hopefully that's not the case.
Wait, what do you mean it is what it is? No more Roblox. What do you mean by
No,
that?
like that's normal Roblox.
Oh,
Like
I thought you
it's
meant like
just yeah.
like
No, no,
if
no, no.
Emblem
I'm
Tales
not.
bad, I'm gonna quit Roblox.
I'm not quitting. I'm not quitting.
Yeah.
Also have World Seed, which should be coming out either end of this year or sometime,
Is
I
that
don't
like
know,
the Sword
early
Art Online
next year.
game or something like that?
Sword Art Online game.
Yeah.
Yep. Definitely. For what we've seen, well, from what I've seen, like the combat mechanics. I haven't seen like actual PvP, but the combat mechanics look pretty good. Physics look good, graphics look good. So hopefully that turns out well because we do need a Sword Art Online game on this platform.
That's
Um,
gonna go crazy with like voice chat and everything. I feel
yeah,
like
no,
it might be able to. Oh
if
wait,
they get it right, honestly, it
yeah.
should be so great.
But also, if they get it wrong, it's another bandit beater. So it's like it's a fine. It's a very delicate
Yes,
balance.
very 50-50. Definitely looking forward to Anime Legends, but I've heard a lot of different rumors about that game. I've been hearing it might be a simulator, a bandit beating simulator, etc. Hopefully, again, that's not the case. Apparently we're meant to get another trailer out soon, but sooner for Block Zone could mean 10 years. So
I can't
again,
do
we'll have
these
to
games,
wait
man.
and
These games are
see.
like they release a trailer, get everyone hyped, and then like a few months, like a year goes by, and we hear nothing, and then all of a sudden we find out like it's not that good.
Exactly. And then or we find out that like I think I someone told me for the trailer for Anime Legends, they just worked on those areas they were gonna showcase for the trailer, and the rest of the game is just base play.
I mean, wasn't the trailer like? I mean, wasn't part of the trailer like animated or something like that? That's what I remember it being. Or like,
Yeah, that was
yeah.
like combat. They showed it showcased combat. It showed like bosses and abilities and stuff like that. So I was
Oh damn.
like, if they had that much and they said coming soon, a year later, why do we not even have a worthy sneak peek?
Maybe they're working on it. Maybe they're not. I mean, it's so
But with,
difficult to tell because Roblox devs, no one's really holding them accountable, and rightly so. Like no one really should. But um, whereas like a game development studio, like an actual like studio, you can kind of like hold them accountable. But with Roblox, like a dev could be here one day and gone the next, and no one will be able to do anything about it. So it can be quite difficult to track those sorts of games. But Yeah.
I feel like they should be held accountable. I feel like everybody's just kind of pushing it under the radar. I feel like especially for a big studio like Block Zone, like they've made prominent games, etc. For them to just do what they did and no one really says anything about it, it should be an issue because it's setting the wrong example for smaller developers.
I
And
completely agree, but also it's like we don't know because I know it's easy to sit here and say Block Zone's a big studio, and it probably is by Roblox standards. But it's just like how much of that money is actually going back to Block Zone? How much is Roblox taking? How much like like you have to understand it from their perspective. It's a lot of time to build a game, and it's like
100%,
like how
definitely.
like can they actually afford to spend that much time on the game?
They can.
Um, they
They
can.
can.
Okay, okay.
Hey, Block Zone is they're making, even though Roblox takes 30%, which is crazy. Um, they're making coin. They're making coin.
Yeah.
But I'm saying even if fair enough, right? The game gets delayed or it's been a year. At least give the audience that the 2 million people that have watched that trailer like a sneak peek or a small announcement or something just to go complete incognito is crazy. Like lack of accountability, there's no respect there. It makes no sense.
But isn't that how you like
Genuinely.
build hype around a game on Roblox? I feel like that's like kind of the Deepwoken model where everything's hidden until release, you know? That sort
But
of
at
thing.
least Rag, when he was doing stuff like that, would give us something. He'll make like a inconspicuous tweet or send us like a picture of something really vague that we had to make out. Rag did months leading up to Deepwoken, he streamed on Twitch for like 30 minutes, like some really vague Deepwoken gameplay. He did showcase something. Even though it wasn't a lot, it was something. Compared to Block Zone, complete ghost mode.
Yeah, I can see how that could be frustrating, especially if you're like really into the game. Me personally, I don't know, man. I feel like Roblox is it's disappointing. I mean, I put so much hope in games and then I maybe partly it's my own fault. I feel like my relationship to Roblox has changed over the last year quite a lot. I don't
Yeah,
now
no, I
expect
feel
just
that.
any old game. I expect a game that I can really like make content on and enjoy and get involved in. But
Very true.
maybe Roblox has been the same and I've changed. That's what I think might
I
have happened.
I feel like people downplay Roblox. Like I feel like the platform has so much potential, and we've seen what it can do if developers really want to. And as a developer, I'm not saying, oh, sink your life into it, right? Because it's easier said than done. People have stuff going on outside of Roblox and real life stuff going on, families, etc. But it's like if you're going to do something, do it to the best of your ability.
Yeah, I get what you mean. I feel like in some ways when people downplay Roblox and they say things like an excuse, they'll say things like, "Oh, it's just Roblox. What do you expect?"
They
I have
expect,
to
well,
remind them it's like that's not how you make progress. You don't make progress by saying, "Oh, that's just Roblox. It can't do any better." You
should
have to
have
really
low
like,
expectations. Like, what is that?
yes.
Why should I have low expectations
Mm.
when we've seen what the platform
I
can
think
do?
it's a little bit insulting to the devs because some of these devs are capable of creating the most beautiful, like amazing work on Roblox with the tools they're given, and yet people go, oh, Roblox is just a bad platform. It has so many limits, and then you
Yeah,
see these devs who surpass the limits. It's kind of a little bit like insulting to their
like I
potential.
literally played a game recently that plays. The movement is crazy. It plays just like a Call of Duty. Like looks and plays just like it. Movement, bullet sounds, everything. Like
Oh
it's
yeah, we got
crazy.
some really
It's
talented devs out there. I mean, I have so much admiration for devs who create interesting and cool stuff. Like I think it's amazing the kind of stuff they're able to come up with in terms of like content.
Yeah, like it's
And yeah,
yeah. No, sorry to cut you off. I was
no,
gonna
it's
say
cool.
it's easy to make a cash grab, right? But if your cash grab is bad, it'll probably make money for a week, if not 2 weeks. And it won't be a crazy amount of money either. Well, let's say it is a high amount of money, but 1 and 2 weeks worth of high amounts of money means nothing. Whereas
That's
if you
true.
make a genuinely good game, people are gonna want to invest money into it, play it, buy Robux, buy game passes, and long term that will make you way more money, make
It'll
you
make you
millions,
wealthy because you're gonna have
literally.
that asset that just keeps generating and generating revenue. Whereas, like, here's the thing: people occasionally like, oh, I'm just gonna make this one shot and it's gonna be a cash grab. It'll be gone in a week, but I'll take my bag and run. Those are the kind of people who actually make less than the people who actually commit to the game. Because if you can commit to the game, find your niche, get your audience, and then keep that audience, you can like farm them for money. I know it sounds like kind of like evil.
Shin Alive 2. It's basically Shin Alive 2.
Basically, blocks fruits.
Basically.
They're all. I mean, I personally don't like a lot of games like blocks fruits because I think they're just boring and I think like a little bit low effort. But no one can deny what Bloxfruits has done in
I
terms
don't
of.
think Blox Fruits is low effort. I don't know about say
I
that.
don't know about that. I feel like
I do relate to the kind of boring part, super repetitive. Like you genuinely do this same thing throughout the whole of the game. Like there's no difference anywhere. But low effort, I don't know. Blox Fruits has a lot of like things going on, revamps, awakenings, second C. In terms
oh
of
no,
content,
it's
is
totally
definitely there.
impressive, but it's
Yeah.
also like if you look at like just like take a look at the NPCs, right?
Hmm.
Like you just can't compare the NPCs in Bloxfruits to GPO. They have this very default NPC style where it's like they
They
look
just
like a
rock
Roblox player.
aggro to you. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's also like it'll be like you beat like a bunch of NPCs, you get to the final boss, and the final boss looks like you. Like it looks like your player character because it's that like it's not very unique at all. It's got like accessories from the what's it called? The catalog, you know, it's
Yeah,
not
catalog.
it looks a little bit tacky, but I get the appeal of it. I think a lot of kids love it. They love the grinding element. But yeah, Roblox games, man. Roblox games are it's frustrating. The entire Roblox YouTube space can be very frustrating because it
Yeah,
can
no,
it can
100%.
lack depth on in my opinion. Um,
100%.
moving on though, that's a good topic. So my next question is, what are your thoughts after doing? Because me and you, right?
Hmm.
You started before me, and I saw your channel grow, and I was like, I want to try and do this. So I managed to catch up with you for just a small moment. It was like a few months where I had like a similar sub count to you, then I fell back down again. But um, I feel like we started roughly around the same time, and we've both been out here for over a year. So, what has your experience been like on the Roblox YouTube anime space, and like, what are your thoughts on it in general?
This is the most stressful thing I've ever done in my life. I cannot lie to you. Like, I don't feel like people understand unless they actually make content or like in a similar situation to mine or yours, etc. It's you wake up, you're stressing about the content you're gonna make. You manage to make and you manage to record the content, then you spend hours editing, and then you're looking at numbers. And these numbers can really take a big toll. Forget on your whole day for how you feel for that whole week. If it's good, you're gonna feel on top of the world. If it's bad, that shit will bring you to your lowest. To your lowest, right? And then not only now are you at your lowest, you're still stressing on what you're gonna do tomorrow and the day after that and the day after that. Unless you're in a comfortable position within one game. And when you're in a comfortable position within one game, yeah, you're in a good situation, but for how long are you in that good situation? Especially within the Roblox community we're in, where the games we're playing aren't averaging 100k players. So eventually, your views, even though they're peaking now, are going to end up dropping. What
I
happens when
Yeah.
you, in that circulation of your views peaking, you're getting a high amount of income for however long? Once that goes down and your income starts coming down, that is gonna it just changes your whole perspective on life. It's crazy, and it will have you in this loop for however long you decide to do YouTube. People recognize you, or like you get some sort of clout. All of that temporary happiness, even sometimes being recognized isn't even all that. Sometimes it's kind of like it just gets it becomes normal, right? When something becomes normal, you don't really look at it as a some sort of quote unquote accomplishment or anything. So now you're stuck in the headspace and it's just you, your computer screen, and your thoughts. And it can destroy someone, bruh. I ain't gonna lie to you. When someone that has 1 million subs, even with good views, says I'm quitting YouTube and never come back. When I was growing up looking at it, I was like, why? Why would you just stop? Now I can see it. Cause this shit stressful. Doing YouTube completely destroys your social life. Completely destroys it. I haven't seen some of my real friends in uni already did that to me. I cannot lie. I haven't seen some of my real friends in almost 4 or 5 years, especially after university. Coming out of university, doing YouTube, I don't necessarily have the time to go see them. I don't have time. I was talking to a female. This YouTube shit completely ruined that because she wants to see me. No, I can't see you because I'm doing YouTube. She wants to do this, do that, do that. No, I can't do that because I need to work. Now, I didn't tell her what I was doing for a reason. So she doesn't understand who's busy every day, 24/7. I said, I am. And obviously, if you don't know what that person is doing, it looks like an excuse. Completely locked that off. Literally, when you wanted to start the stream, I was having an argument with that girl for about 30 minutes, bro. And this argument has been going on for the past week. Uh,
No,
bro,
I
it's
completely
crazy.
understand. I completely
This
understand.
shit.
I feel like there is a level of I mean, you're in a unique position because you are like, you finish university and you're kind of hedging a lot of your bets on this. But one thing
Mhm.
that's interesting that you mentioned is um the sort of like how much numbers have an influence. And one of the things that's really important to understand is if you're consistently getting 100,000 views, you are in a completely different place to somebody who is hardly or barely managing to get 10k views. Because if you're barely managing to get 10k views, you are going to struggle financially to an extent because you're going to have to keep it's like if you average 10k views a video, you can't afford to not really take breaks if it's your primary income source. You need to upload almost daily, and I feel like with this 10k, like the worst, or sorry, like one of the most stressful places you can be in the Roblox animation space is being a content creator who uploads videos that get between 5 and 10k views. Because on the
Yeah,
one hand, you're making enough money for you to have to take this stuff seriously and think this might be a future thing I could do. But you also have to understand you're not making enough to to really feel like your time is being what's the word like appraised like proportionally. So like
yeah,
YouTube might pay you this much a month, but was your like time really worth that much? And I feel
yeah.
like at that point, that like 10k range, ooh, it can feel like a grind for a while.
Literally.
Social
So
life is another thing, whole other kettle of fish. I mean, when it comes to, I mean, it's difficult enough to really find time for people anyway because we're all so busy with our own lives. But
mhm.
when it comes to like, if you're doing YouTube or you're like really focused on success in with numbers, it can get super difficult to make time for people because your time is money. Your time is a video. Like, oh, I can just
Literally.
spend time with you. That's one video gone. That's like the income that I needed. I needed that income and now I don't have it. And yeah, yes, people work similar jobs, but I mean, at least when you work a job, you know when your hours end and when your free time begins.
Yep.
When you have a YouTube as your main income source, you don't know when your free time begins and your work ends because they're so intertwined. It's like
One and
I
the same.
yeah, like you play games, and eventually you used to play games for fun. Now you have to make videos on games to make money, and they kind of blend together. And it's like, well, when do I know when I need to stop playing games for YouTube and start playing them for fun? And it can be really difficult to gauge that in your brain, I think, and that's definitely what really makes YouTube somewhat difficult in the long
Yeah.
term.
You see gaming is completely different when you kind of have to do it for content. Like you don't enjoy playing the game, but you have to play the game, and that's kind of what put me off Grand Peace Online. Like even I kind of started off Grand Peace Online as making content anyways, because before the game even came out, I was making videos on the game. But back then I was small to the point I wasn't even earning anything, and it was only a couple hundred views anyways. So I still got to play the game to enjoy it. Then you get bigger, and it's like, okay, now I need to play the game and make content on it. I have to grind this game. And it gets to the point where it's like clicking that green button to play it genuinely gives you anxiety. Like you can't do it. Like the green button is hard. And even when you do click it, you see the title screen with the music and your body freezes up. You just all F4.
I mean, I never had something like that, but I definitely had moments where I didn't want to play GPO. I didn't want to record GPO. I remember like having to like pretend like somebody told me, "Oh, your videos sound very like monotone." I was like, "That's pretty true. Maybe I should try and add a little bit more excitement into my voice."
Yeah.
So I'd be like recording a script and I'd be like pretending to be. I'd be like, "Oh my god, they're gonna add this new fruit to GPO. I'm so excited. This is so crazy." And then I'd be like in my head like, what the fuck? I don't like this game. I don't care about this shit. Like, I felt like it was a little bit like I was lying to myself. And, like, it's like, how much do I have to get paid to lie to myself? Is
Yeah,
it
and it's
£10?
it's to the point where your personality almost changes. Like, I cool with daily stream. When I used to daily stream at least.
Ooh,
Um,
the age. Back in the day. Oh
it
my god.
was at first I was just streaming, right? And then obviously as like viewers stack up, you're reading comments whilst you're playing the game, and sometimes you really do react to those comments. You really do react. It almost kind of changes your personality. Like it's not people think, oh, when they like let's say Speed for instance, when he's streaming, he has this personality persona he's putting on, but it kind of actually becomes authentic, especially as the streamer. It becomes authentic. This is genuinely me right now because it's just the environment I'm in. This is how I am. It's not an act.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's this theory called the dramaturgical model, and it's
Mm,
this sociological theory about how we change. We have like a multitude of like personalities that we put on for different things. So, for example, if you're going to be like recording, you might have a recording personality. You might have a personality that only comes out with your friends. And the issue with YouTube is because you spend so much time playing it and it blurs that line between fun and work. I feel like your personalities, your content creator personality and your real life personality, they get almost mixed, and that can
yeah,
feel like it can feel like you have like motion sickness, but it's not like it's um like you feel like you're lying to yourself when you're recording, and it can feel like what's the term where like in your mind you have two things that contradict it simultaneously. Like you could be saying in a video, "I love GPO. I'm so excited," and then in your head you could be like, "Fuck this game, bro. This game's so boring. I don't want to play this stupid game." Like you could have both things in your head at the same time, and that can make you feel, in my experience, quite like off center a little bit. So it's not great sometimes, but no, Roblox anime YouTube space is it's a difficult space to be in. Um, we made a video, well, I made a video a while back, and it was top three YouTubers or top five GPU YouTubers that I think will grow in the future, right? Now,
I
I
remember
don't,
that.
wait, do you remember that video where
Yeah,
yeah, so I'm not gonna say I'm a magic man, but I was kind of accurate with that.
yeah. No, you really were because Winter is crazy. That boy blind
We're
for
just going
for.
crazy. Sage is still around. It's like that sort of stuff. And that's not a knock on Sage. I think Sage is a like Sage Z, like that guy, not Sage E, but Sage Z. I
Mm.
mean, Sage Z is one of the nicest people I ever met. Like, unironically, that guy has not got a bad cell in his
Yeah,
body.
he's never. I've never seen him cuss before.
I think he's like a whole different species because he is like super nice, super wholesome all
Yeah,
the time.
I've never seen him say a bad word before, and it's crazy.
I've never seen him get, even when he gets mad, it's always like, "Oh, how does he sound, bro? I can't even do his voice. It's
I
like,
can't do it either.
it's like, oh, I know how he sounds though. It's like, he kind of says things and he never like raises his voice. It's always like, he has a way of ending. I don't know. That guy's a different like that guy's a different. He's just he's such a nice guy. But
I know, I like him.
but like he's doing pretty successful. So I was pretty right with that. But I thought it'd be interesting if we definitely talked about in this podcast what you think the future look likes, what you think the future looks like for your channel, and for you in general, because I feel like it'd be nice to have this as like one of those things called you bury in the time capsule. Yeah, time capsule. But it could be a nice time capsule in a couple of years' time. Old Ags can like look back and be like, oh, this is what I thought I was going to be back then, and I definitely achieved that, or I didn't achieve that. So where do you see yourself in the future? Like maybe like 5 years, 10 years. Like, what's it like for you?
Anchor, I ask myself this question every day. There's not a moment where I'm not recording or streaming goes by where I don't ask myself this question. I genuinely don't know. It's not even like I'm trying to manifest negativity, right? But the situation I'm in right now is hard to think positively. Genuinely, like I'm always stressed out. I was on my way to the gym, listening to music, stressed out. I ended my workout early because I was stressed out about YouTube. Came home upset that I ended my workout early. On my way home, I was stressed out about YouTube. I have no idea, but I can't say anything positive. Like I really don't know. I would like to be maybe 5 years from now in a better position. Like, let's say 200K, comfortable 200K, and getting good views. And you know what I'm saying, comfortable, able to stream whatever, whenever, upload whatever, whenever, Roblox related. Um, Maybe even not Roblox related. Who knows? But it's hard in this current time for me to even think that. Like, it's like, okay, now, Ags, you're being unrealistic. That's way too. You're never that lucky. I ain't gonna lie, I've really never been a lucky guy. So, me getting where I am now, 100% grateful. Definitely grateful because I don't. Luck has never been on my side. Genuinely,
Yeah, yeah,
I've,
yeah. I completely
everything
see where you're
I've
coming from. Yeah.
ever, yeah, no, everything I've ever had or gotten, I had to work my ass off for it. So it's like shit. Is there progression? Like, obviously, I'm still gonna do my best, go crazy, but it's hard to look in
I mean, I don't
a
think
positive
you're
direction.
like like I don't think you're unique in the sense that like you can't see what the future holds. I think it's very difficult because like think about it. We just got out of COVID, right? And I
Hmm.
mean, me and you, we started doing YouTube. I think it was like during COVID or like towards the end
Yeah,
of COVID. Like
yeah,
that was a very like crazy time anyway. But then, like, what does the future hold? Like, let's say 5 years. Okay, 5 years. We have maybe there's like another pandemic. Maybe there's like a war. We don't know what's gonna happen. What's gonna
yeah. Hopefully
change?
not.
Like hopefully not. But it's like I feel like it's very difficult to tell even what the future will look like, let alone where you will be in the future.
Mhm.
And going as far as like 10 years. I mean, will virtual reality be relevant? Will we be making virtual reality content?
She.
Will we be like in the metaverse? I don't know. Like, like what does the future look like for a YouTuber? Like, what is gaming YouTube in 2032? Like, are we going to
Mhm.
be in the virtual world? Are we going to be playing GPO 5? Are we going to be like GPO update 25? I don't know. Like, what are the like? I would be just the thing is, I'm not really Okay, here's my thoughts on this. I love YouTube. I love making content. I love having a platform. But I'm also going to go to university later this year just to study law, right?
Mhm.
And I'm not going to study law for the sake of getting a degree. I'm going to study law to become a lawyer.
Yeah.
Now, do I want to become a lawyer? I mean, sure. I mean, it's interesting enough. But I'm one of these people who I never knew what I wanted to be. I never had like an idea. I never had like a passion. In fact, I never had a
Same.
passion. I never really cared about anything in the same way I did YouTube. YouTube like allowed me to put all my time into something and really become passionate about it. But
Yep.
now I've kind of fallen out of love with a lot of the content styles and the repetitive formats and that sort of thing. But I think I'm hoping that in the next 10 years, an opportunity will arise and I'll be able to take it. Because one thing we know as YouTubers is that we can take advantage of an opportunity. If a dev
Yeah,
publishes a sneak
100%.
peek, if a new game comes out, we are
Mhm.
right there. We can take advantage of that and create a little space for ourselves, carve out a little portion of that success for us. Now, the question is, can we extrapolate that out? And in the future, let's say the metaverse in 10 years' time or a new game in 5 years' time, could I be able to, let's say I see an opportunity to like become, I don't know, somebody who like, I don't know, in the metaverse, like, I don't know, or like in a game that's like, in the future, I find this way to like create content in the form of I don't know, maybe like virtual items or this sort of thing where I'm like acquiring all this stuff and I'm like through the game I find out an opportunity where I can make money because let's be real, we make money from games primarily and nobody would have really expected this say like 20, 30 years ago. It would have been like that just like YouTube was just starting to become a thing and like games were fun, games are things you do, but we somehow managed to turn that fun thing that's like super trivial and turn it into a money making like enterprise,
Machine.
bro. A
Yeah.
machine, yeah. Like you look at people like Infinasu. I'm sure Infinasu loves his games, but he also has built an empire. Like this man, he sits at his throne and he looks down upon videos, like a field of
Yes.
videos,
Yeah, he
100k
is the
views,
king.
100k views, and he just reaps in all what he has sown. He reaps in all that revenue, and he sits
Like,
on his throne with big piles of money, you know?
if
And
else, it
that's,
could be a week late to a new trend
yeah.
and make the new trend a new trend. Like,
It's
it's
crazy, bro.
crazy.
And then there's
It's crazy.
us at the furthest part of our little one portion of land, just farming our little one portion, trying to get as much revenue as we can from our one little cube. And then
Can I
there's
have
these
more?
giant. That's sort of it's like
Lit-
all of a twist,
yeah,
that sort of
literally.
stuff. But like he has such a big enterprise, and I feel like um I don't even know what it's like to have that, but I would definitely like something like that in the future. I definitely want to become successful. Um, I'm not a big cult of money guy, but I also think money's important. And when it comes to like ways to make money, there are some pretty boring ways to make money. Like you can work. I mean, I'm not sure if you've worked. Yeah, you worked in like a clothing store, right? Like retail, right?
I like Sainsbury's.
Sainsbury's, sorry, you worked in Sainsbury's. Like that can be boring, repetitive, like and your income is limited. You can't really earn above a certain point. Whereas something like YouTube, it can feel like you can earn as much as you want. You're your own boss. You're in charge of your own future. And I hope in the future, whatever I'm doing, whether the job I have, wherever I am, I hope I can control my future. I hope I am the guy who gets to decide what I do and what I create and whatever I'm doing, I hope I have that level of control to an extent. You know what I mean?
Yeah, honestly, that is the goal. That is the end result. After that, anything that comes our way just comes.
It's true
Literally.
because realistically, you can't do YouTube forever. It's sad, but it's true. You can't do YouTube forever, so you have to kind of ensure.
Yeah,
Yeah, I guess you can, but you need your golden years. You need
yeah,
your
no,
golden years.
100%,
You need to
100%.
build up some money, put it aside in some in one of those like financial management things where like where like your money makes money, that sort of thing.
Yeah,
Um,
ISIS or
yeah.
whatever sort of thing.
And then that way you have like a guaranteed like retirement like pool. So that's the dream. But again, I'm not hedging all my bets on YouTube. And for anyone out there who is thinking about doing YouTube, if you want to do it, that's great. If you're successful, that's great. But do not put it above security, because realistically, right, I mean, it's, unless you're making it above a certain amount of money, like, you need to have a fallback plan. I know it sounds a little bit like uninspiring, like you probably want to hear me say, burn the bridges behind you, move forward, and just keep going towards your goal. But you have to think about this reasonably. YouTube is not going to be for everyone. It can be a very difficult landscape. Even if you get all the formats right, you may still be this guy who, for whatever reason, fails. So don't hedge all your bets in this one thing. Try and enrich yourself first in terms of knowledge and skills, and maybe then do YouTube. But that's my two cents. Now, Ags, any thoughts before we end this podcast?
Honestly, not really, man. This was a nice podcast. It was a little stress reliever for real,
This
for
was
real.
great.
So
Yeah, it was good to catch up with you. I always like talking to Ags because he
definitely.
always had some good takes. Good takes.
Appreciate
Um,
it.
but yeah, where can people find you? I'm guessing just it's what's your YouTube again? I'll put it on screen,
Yeah.
but it's
RevolverAgz, go on to Twitter, RevolverAgz. If you actually really want to reach out to me, Twitter is probably the best place. I may not respond, but I definitely see the messages. Discord's never the right place to message me on. But
yeah.
yeah,
Make
no.
sure you go and subscribe to Ags. Make sure and try and catch his streams. Always really really fun. Watch his videos too. Makes content on a whole wide range of games. And yeah, this is where I'm going to end this podcast episode. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing. And as always, leave a comment. And I hope you have a great day, evening, or time. It's you guys, and I will see you in tomorrow's video. Bye, guys.